Great skills again by him. Oh, marvellous goal by Logan.
Welcome to the Rangers Journal.
Welcome everyone to the Rangers Journal pre-match pod before we take on Braga at Ibrox today. I'm joined in this pod, what do we want to call it, look ahead by Jock. Jock, mate, how are you?
I'm good. Looking forward to the game. So I'm Billy. Enjoy these European games much.
Well, I'll just bring the I will just bring the squad right up because it's just been released, and thank you to Doug who has just prepared that for me. So you're getting the same reaction as me. I'll just read through it. So starting lineup: Butland in goals, Tavernier, Giga, Fernandez at Aarons, Diamande, Raskin, Barron, Danilo, Gassama, and Chermiti. Now, I was listening to the press conference yesterday. I had a sneaky suspicion Chermiti was going to be back involved. Don't that I think is deserved, but what do you make of the lineup, mate?
A wee bit surprised that McGoma's not there because McGoma's been pretty solid at left back since he's come in, really, and for such a young age. I wonder if there's maybe something underlying there. He's maybe looking towards the weekend form. Giga Fernandez, again, injuries is really forcing his hand there with that, isn't it? In Ciala, I don't even see he's on the bench there, so that's a strange one. He's obviously stacked. He's went for sort of midfield and attackers more than he has so defensive options. Diamande, Raskin, standard. Barron, I'm glad Barron's starting because I think we need that sort of pitbull terrier energy in the middle of the park because he's going to have to do a lot of work against this team because they're going to spray the passes around us like nobody's business. And then as you highlighted, Chermiti was a surprise package. Interesting to see how he gets on tonight. That's for sure.
I think for me, it might be wrong. Braga, the kind of 2022 game, I think it was, with the Hadji kind of goal, the comeback, it's Ibrox baby. That to me signalled the start of a real big European momentum for us for a good couple of seasons, especially in the Europa League. I think we were 2-0 down in that game. I remember just going to the chip shop. Time had come back out. We got a goal back, so I raced back home, and then the game played out the way it played out. I haven't followed Braga too much to see if they're the same team. They certainly looked a decent outfit that night, and I'm not saying we scored. We won the game against the run of play. It was a great game for us, but it was like 2-0 down. But then Ibrox erupted when that last goal goes in by Hadji. So I'm looking forward to it being hopefully we don't go 2-0 down, mate. But I'm looking forward to it being an exciting game at least.
Yeah, well, history between the two clubs, there's always goals in these games, isn't there? It's because we've played them that many times in recent years, as you say. And obviously the 3-2 game at Ibrox, I'm pretty sure they hit the bar before we got a goal back. Could have made it 3-0, and then it probably kills the game off altogether. But we get Hadji scores. Aribo does his dancing feet goal, as I called it in the Facebook post earlier, and then obviously the Hadji free kick, the deflector free kick, and then we went to Braga and beat them 1-0 in the away leg. Ryan Kent scored.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure that was Amarim was the manager for them at the time. I could be wrong. Because it looked like him. Because I watched the highlights there yesterday for the Facebook post. But yeah, they've always had quality, Braga, haven't they? They've gave like Celtic struggled against them as well when they played them. I think it was a couple of years ago as well. Good quality, a typical Portuguese outfit. A good technical ability, and they're always going to cause you problems, and they're always going to knock the ball about, and they always give you space. One thing that they give you space to operate in, and I think it's something that I'm hoping that our wingers can try and take advantage of tonight.
Yeah, I see the initial lineup. I try and think about it a couple of minutes, and I always throw the question on the other guys on the pod with me to go through it. But let's look. So obviously you mentioned Giga and Fernandez. Not a lot can really be done in that, I guess, situation. Tavernier right back as captain. The big thing for me is Aarons didn't particularly do very well at the beginning of the season when he was playing at left back, did he?
No, and that was always going to be difficult for him because it's not his natural position. They could do a job, but whenever the team was under the cosh, the manager's under the cosh, it's just a recipe for disaster in it. And no matter what he did, it was always going to be struggling to try and play your way out of that. you might do okay, but if the team's not doing okay, you're still being dragged down with the team at the end of the day, aren't you? And then, obviously they had to carry on with Bruges where he gets sent off, and it's just been a struggle for him since. So hopefully, I'd take a solid performance out of him tonight to try and sort of settle the nerves and get back into playing for Rangers, because he's only been sort of a bit part here and there the last couple of games. Because obviously Tavernier's made that right back position his again, and Migoma was reliable in that left back position. So be interesting to see how he gets on tonight. That's for sure.
I'll take a wee mid pod break, because obviously these pre-match ones are a bit shorter. To mention our sponsor, the Bluebells Pub in Puerto del Carmen. If you're out there, they are showing the game tonight, so you could go along to the place, mention us, and they will look after you. So if you're over in Lanzarote, go for it. It's a family-friendly eat, drink, chill, and party, and they show every Rangers game. And there's nothing better than looking over the sea and enjoying hopefully a Rangers win this evening. Jock, let's move on to the midfield. One thing I'm happy about is Asgard is not in it, because as much as I feel he probably is a player and maybe can build on it, he's not in form at the moment, so he needed taken out.
Yeah, I think so. I covered that at the weekend there. I felt sorry for him at the weekend, because he had a real task on his hands trying to create anything and do anything, and he was surrounded with Livingston players. They really sort of took him out of the game. I know these kind of games, he's probably going to get a bit more space, but like you say, I think the Diomande, Raskin and Barn trio is probably better suited for this game. Plenty of energy in that midfield, plenty of tackles going in, and there's a bit of creativity there from Diomande when he shows he can do things like that, and he can play in certain passes. He can get as a goal. Raskin, I'm hoping for a big performance for him tonight as well, because he's just not been at a level I think we've kind of come to expect towards the end of last season and the start of this season. So they came back kind of against Hibs. He lost that game, and it kind of showed us what we were missing. He's not really captured that again. So there's a lot of big performances are needed tonight if we want to get a result, that's for sure.
Yeah, and Diomande, I just don't think we're the right club for him. He can do it an occasion in the league, and he can do it a bit more often in Europe. So I guess that's why he's probably in today. Raskin, though, mate, I don't know if you've seen his press conference yesterday. He mentioned that he knows he's not been playing up to what we expect of him, and he wants to start repaying that. It's easy to say this kind of stuff, but if he is going to turn his form round, I mean, he goes away and plays very well with his international team. Easier said than done, I guess, if you're playing with better players than when you're playing with Rangers, maybe not the same standard, but Raskin really has to put a marker down for this season at some point, and I hope it's tonight.
Yeah, 100%. I said he's obviously, he can see it himself. At least he's acknowledging that himself as well. So it's good to see that. But I'd say it's really been the Hibs game was the sort of one where he came in and he really sort of showed what would be missing in that midfield. Well, he'll carry on with Russell Martin and the club and that, but thankfully that's sorted. And you see, a game like tonight is an ideal game to do that. And look at the position he's in as well. The contract is running down. He's going to be putting himself in a short window on a European night like this. No better stage for it. Whether that gets some interest this window or next, it'll just be interesting to see how things pan out with him. Because ideally we either sell him now or we look to get him on another contract and try and tie him down for a wee bit longer. Because as you say, he doesn't look out of place in that Belgium team, but then it's at the quality around him when you're sitting, having Kevin De Bruyne telling you what to do. You're going to do it, aren't you?
Yeah. Let me also mention this evening, you'll notice that Jock is wearing some of our very own Rangers Journal merch. I need to get you a better spotlight, Jock, so we can get a bit more light on it. But I've ordered that hoodie as well. It looks fantastic. Full clothing range. This time of year, you might be looking to buy things for people. There is a QR code at the top, but the Rangers Journal shop is on Etsy. If you just go on Etsy and type in the Rangers Journal, you should find our products over there. I'll get a better script for that. It's only just went live. I think Doug released the news on Tuesday's pod. But yeah, really good stuff over there. And if you're looking for something that's for a Rangers fan or a fan of the Rangers Journal especially, then there's a lot to choose from over there. Let's move forward a section again, Jock. A bit of a strange one, although maybe not. I think Danilo plays better with a partner. I just hope he's not shoved out on a wing, or Tremiti's shoved out on a wing, and they both become isolated.
Yeah, I mean that's a fear, because we know from experience it's not as ideal position. Danilo's better either he being up front or dropping into that sort of 10 role where he can link up with those around him. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Maybe it might be quite fluid during the game, and they might sort of rotate things and change things around. I'd probably go with the latter. But let's see, you can understand why obviously Tremiti's in there. The big fee, the big outlay. I think we're going to have to see him play more games to see if there's a player in there or not. Because it's the jury is out on him at the moment, and that's only going to increase as the games go on, and there's no end product with it.
Yep. And I guess finally, Paul has mentioned it a few times. I'm coming to it, Paul. That is Gassama. I was quite impressed with him. I am impressed with him at times. That's the thing, though, with like wingers, though, that they're not always in the game for the whole time. I don't mean that Paul's been unfair on him, but it's not. You can't expect one guy to run everything. Well, maybe Brian Laudrup you could have, but or Gaza, but he's not them. He's probably one of the better players we've got at the moment, and one of the players that might be able to create magic for us, I suppose.
I think so. We've seen it. We've seen he has it in his locker. Those goals where he beats a man or he cuts inside and he whips it around in the far corner. And that's it's in his repertoire. He's done it for Sheffield United. He's done it for us. Probably just not as much as we would all have liked. He has struck the post a couple of times. He has worked the keeper in games. There is a player in there, and out of everybody that's come in over the summer, I would say he is probably the only real success story at the moment. Particularly in the forward line, attacking midfield line, going forward. I do think we have to understand and appreciate that he is still quite young, he's still quite raw, so we have to take these games where he's maybe not going to be at his best or he's going to make the wrong decision, but I think that'll all come and all fall into place because the guy has talent, the guy has pace to burn. It's just a matter of linking it together and just getting a more refined player out of it, and I'm sure a season the Rangers will do that for him.
I mean, we're about an hour to kick off, Jock, so we won't stay on too much longer, but maybe another couple of minutes or so to discuss. I mean, well, a couple of things actually. Looking at the bench, I think it's quite telling. There's a number of players that were signed in the summer there. Cameron, Curtis. No, sorry, not Curtis. Cameron, Antman, Asgard, and Miofsky, Magoma, all players that were brought in the summer, but not in the starting lineup, which kind of shows you we've not improved that starting lineup if they're not really getting in. Is that Scott Wright makes an appearance as well? I hope not. But so there is what I was going to say is they haven't done particularly well so far, but they are creative players there, and there is a chance to maybe change the game if we need.
Yeah, there's options and there's creative options. Like as I said earlier in the week in the members pod, and that Miofsky really on the bench against Livingston was the only sort of attacking option we had on the bench, and going by current form, it didn't really fill you with confidence. But then he came on and he did make the difference. With the tip of his toe, he's won us the 3 points with that action on against Livingston. So again, Antman. A bit frustrating. I think players are the fans are starting to get fed up with his cutbacks and stuff. And I'm wondering if that week he spent with Dessers was maybe a week too long in Dessers' company. The same way Gassama with the cutbacks. But the guy got 17 assists and I think 8 or 9 goals in the season last season with his Dutch team. That's no mean feat in that league to do that. So there is quality there. I just think it just needs all the piece together. We just need a good performance. And we need to come up against a team that are maybe going to give us that wee bit more freedom instead of running into a defensive back 5, back 6, where a block players and there's not much space to manoeuvre, and it's forcing things like cutbacks, which are getting on the fans' nerves. I just think we just maybe need a game where it's a wee bit more open, and this might be the game where you get that, where they're going to stick to their game plan and they're not going to come here and park the bus. So a game like this probably suits players like Gassama and Ant-Man. So it will be interesting to see how the game progresses and if we need to call on them, or ideally we're sitting 3-0 and we can give guys like Curtis and we can give guys like Adamson that the minutes that they need at that young age at a club like this, which is something we've not been able to do for far too long in terms of our youth products.
Yep. Say he goes to make a midfield substitution. I'm hoping that he turns to Cameron before he turns to Asgard first. I think Cameron he's shown more this season for me. And I know it's not a league game, but he also comes from the Scottish League, so he knows how to put a bit of dig in. He knows how to put a shift in, whereas Asgard kind of floats in and out the game. So I do hope that he gets a chance this evening. Finlay Curtis, I hope, possibly gets a chance this evening as well to show what he can do. I mean, the manager doesn't put on players he thinks are worse than someone else has got. So he's obviously not picking Asgard ahead of Cameron because he doesn't believe he's better than him. Is there anything you can see to see why Cameron hasn't had more of a choice or a chance, and Curtis as well in that regard?
The Curtis one, I'm not sure, because Curtis at the start of this season has showed more than enough, I think, to warrant getting more game time. Particularly, early in the season, some of the goals he scored and the work ethic he put in was great, and it was refreshing to see, and the fans were loving that. Cameron, I think. Cameron's a different one because I'm not sure if it's because Cameron maybe only can play in the one position, or maybe he only thinks he's maybe one-dimensional. I know he does like his players to be able to fill a variety of different roles and operate in different areas. Because one thing we know about Daniel Rose, he's not afraid to change it. When things aren't working, he'll make the right change to try and turn the tide. Whereas I think in previous years we've sat and with the time in the games that ate away because the manager's not made the changes. We don't have that to worry about that. So those guys on that bench, I'm sure will be called upon if needed. And I like you say, I do like Cameron. I think he's very direct. He gives you an honest shift, and I think that's just something that sometimes you just need in a team. Is you just need somebody who will do all the hard graft and all the running and give you 110% for an hour, 45 minutes, wherever it may be. Because sometimes you just need that in a team, and he proved that with his goal. He proved to get the goal against. It was the away tie.
Falkirk was not Falkirk, was it St Mirren?
He got Cameron. It was a European game. He got an away goal.
Oh, right. So I'm thinking. I thought you were still talking about Curtis, mate. So I just noticed that we went live on Facebook, and I thought I better text that in the group. So I'm sorry, I was distracted just because. Oh no, we're not live on Facebook. Anyway, sorry, mate. Yeah, on you go.
I'm trying to think of the game. I just know he scored in a European game, and I mean, again, it all shows that he can play at that level. He offered a lot in that game. I just can't remember the team. I just know it was an away tie. I don't know if it was Pleasant away. Maybe we got a goal. But yeah, Miovski again, I'm sure he'll come on, give us options, depending where he can play, because he can sort of operate across that front three if needed as well. There's just a lot has to come from the front players because they're just not offering enough. But is that because we're not giving them enough chances? Because certainly on Saturday that was the case because we had 2 shots on target, which at home is bonkers for a Rangers team.
Google's AIs tell me it was Pilsen they scored against. So if that's wrong, blame Google, not me. The last thing I just wanted to touch on was really because how we had that bad season in the Champions League. That fair enough. We had a depleted team, but we have been, I guess, since that kind of time, maybe even a wee bit earlier than 2022, a team that people feared coming to Ibrox. People feared us. We are. Okay, we beat Dortmund, but maybe you could say that wasn't expected. But it was certainly going at the Braga game in those days. You were like, well, we should get something out of this. Whereas tonight, I'm reading some comments on the side there, people saying just hope it's not a tanking, and that for me is just sad for how quickly things have fallen apart, especially in Europe. Never mind the league.
Yeah, it's a pardon me. It's a complete 180, I would say, from what we're used to and what we expect, because as I was thinking about this in the car driving on the way home, actually, that what went out the door in the summer, that experience, guys like Hadji, guys like Balogun, those they have that experience of being here during these games and during those runs. So they know what it takes to beat a team on a night like this. and those Thursday nights to us were special. And certainly this season is more like a nightmare, and we're I would say dreading some of these games, because some of the ties we've had, we should have at least took a draws from or points from, but we've just not been nowhere near it this season in the Europa League, and it's a shame, because we have so much good memories of different campaigns and different runs, and we always seem to get through to Christmas and our side of Christmas, and we're usually the only team in Scotland that's still playing European football by that point. This might be one of these seasons where it's not the case, and I think it's going to be strange. But if it means we give ourselves a better footing in terms of the league, and we can park the Europa League side for this season, and then I think we can focus on one thing, and one thing being the league only, and obviously then the Scottish Cup when it comes round. I think, given the season we've had and the start we've had, probably not a bad thing. But yeah, for me, I do miss the grandeur and the build up to these games previously, because, as you said, teams feared coming here. The crowd made them scared before they'd even kicked the ball. Some teams were even beat before they even got in the park. So I think we need to try and, probably not be this year, but at least next year, try and get back to that, and get this place back to being a fortress again in Europa League, or in Europe, essentially.
Well, you might have noticed, but Rangers were very kind to let me use the Blue Room for this podcast this evening, so I better return the room to them and let you guys get away and get prepared for watching the game. Jock, you're on post-match, I believe. You and Chris, maybe somebody else, maybe Andrew as well, but you'll be here, 10 o'clock or so? 10
o'clock we're due to go live, so I don't imagine there's no extra time or anything tonight in there. It's just a standard game, so
yeah.
It'll be win, lose or draw tonight.
You'll be back. Well, how do you see it going? I don't like asking for score predictions; it's meaningless. But what's your thoughts on your feelings?
I said a 2-2 draw this morning on Facebook, and I think I'll stick with that. There's going to be goals probably for both sides. I'm just hoping for an entertaining game of football, really, because looking at our league position and the way things are, we're not fighting for anything right now. It's more pride, pardon me. So hopefully the boys go out there and get a bit of pride, at least try and get a win on the board. But I think even at this point, I would take a draw, because I'm like with a lot of the fans, they're a good side. They've got good quality. They always do. So I think we're going to be up against it tonight. But you never know. They might shock us. The Rangers have a habit of doing that.
Yeah, not always for the best, the shocks, unfortunately, but we'll see. Thank you, everyone, in the comments. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and turn on notifications. You'll get notifications of when the pod goes live. Also, thank you very much to our sponsors, the Bluebells Pub in Puerto del Carmen. They will look after you there if you mention the Rangers Journal. So, guys, go and get yourself ready for the game. We hope you enjoy it, and we'll be back after the game to go over it. Thank you very much. Every night is the Rangers Journal night. See you soon.
Every night is the Rangers Journal night.